So it is Tuesday night. My entire house is a mess. My toddler is going crazy because it's that time of day and it's time to make dinner, obviously. So tonight I'm going to be making a pasta bake because I have mozzarella cheese from another recipe sitting in my fridge, so it needs to get used up. I got this pasta at the discount store today for 30% off, so it was like $1, which is amazing. I also got this ricotta for $2. Pasta's done boiling. I'm going to set this to 350 so I can get the cheese on top nice and melty. This is a pound of ground chicken that I bought on discount a couple weeks ago. I transferred it to this freezer bag and froze it flat. It looks disgusting, but it's a really convenient way to freeze ground meat because it thaws so quickly then, and it also takes up less space in your freezer. I'm just browning it up here in the same pan that I boiled my pasta in. This is my seasoning lineup. I'm gonna add that so that they get toasty with the meat. My meat is nice and brown, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my tomato sauce. Now you can go ahead and dump in your pasta and 15 ounces of ricotta or cottage cheese. It was lacking depth, so I went ahead and added a little bit more salt and some MSG. So I transferred my pasta mixture over to this 9x13 pan and topped it with that mozzarella cheese. And all I have to do now is pop it into the oven for maybe 10 minutes or so to get that cheese nice and melted and bubbly on top. Oh, it turned out very good. This cheese does not melt as nicely as I would like it to. We eat pasta bakes like this so often because they're cheap, delicious, and they come with leftovers, which is like my favorite word in the universe. It's Wednesday night and I'm making black bean burgers. I have one small yellow onion in here and I'm just gonna chop this up till it's really nice and fine. It's basically like onion paste right now, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Got 2 cans of black beans, drained and rinsed really well. I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of this gochujang, about a cup of panko. I have this rainbow quinoa from another dinner that I had made. I'm gonna add about half of this, so that'll be about 1 cup. Adding in 1 whole egg, and I'm just gonna be seasoning this up with garlic powder and salt. This is still a bit wet, so I'm going to add some more panko. This is what I want my dough to look like. It's still a little sticky, but it's able to be formed into patties. I've got some butter heating up on the stovetop here, so I'm just gonna form that dough into little discs and fry them on here. This is about the size that I like to make them. I'm gonna make a quick sriracha aioli using equal parts sriracha and Kewpie mayo here. Just top these with some mild cheddar to let it melt on. I went ahead and assembled these. I put some lettuce and that special sauce and some pickled red onions on top. So we just got this chicken at Sam's Club and we had a bunch of it for lunch. And now I'm gonna shred the chicken off of it and we're gonna use that for part of our dinner tonight. And I'm also going to start the carcass boiling in the Instant Pot because I'm gonna use that to make broth for our ramen tomorrow night. Alright, so here is the rest of the chicken carcass. I didn't pick it as clean as I could have, but I'm okay with that. And then here is the chicken. This is gonna go in the fridge and I'm gonna use this for dinner tonight. Alright, so I have that chicken carcass in my Instant Pot and I'm gonna be adding a bunch of ginger and a whole head of garlic. And then I'm just gonna cover this all with some cold water. I'm adding a little bit of soy sauce for flavor and seasoning, but I'm not gonna fully season it until tomorrow when it's been reduced a little bit. Then I'm also adding a little bit of MSG just for flavor enhancement. That's going to pressure cook for an hour and a half, and then I'm gonna transfer it to the slow cooker and let it cook overnight. It's Saturday night, and for dinner tonight, I'm gonna be using up some brown rice that I made a little while back and needs to be used up. So I'm gonna be making like some grain bowls. And so I'm gonna be roasting sweet potatoes, using some of that rotisserie chicken from earlier, and I'm also going to be making a yummy dressing to go on top. I have these all chopped up and I have some olive oil on them. I'm going to be seasoning them up with my absolute favorite seasoning salt. This is the Tony Chachare's Creole seasoning. It is so good. It adds salt as well as seasoning. It's very, very easy, honestly. However, I'm also very extra, so I'm going to be adding chipotle and cumin because those are so good on any kind of roasted veggie. These are all seasoned and coated, so I'm just going to stick them in the oven at 425 until they get nice and crispy. I'm making a little dressing. So this is just some tahini and agave, and I'm gonna add rice vinegar, sriracha, and some of this homemade triple crunch mustard. I followed Tess's recipe. She has it on TikTok. It's so good. Then I'm also going in with all of these seasonings, just some salt and MSG, the basics, and then garlic powder, cumin, and chipotle. But also, can we have a moment to appreciate this beautiful fork? It makes my heart so happy. I added water to thin it out and get it to this consistency. Absolutely perfect. People really sleep on tahini-based dressings, but they are so good. So I just pulled my sweet potatoes out of the oven, and they definitely got a little darker than I wanted them to, but it's gonna be fine. Dylan doesn't love raw carrot salads, but I do, and I've been trying to get one in every day for health reasons because I do show signs of estrogen dominance, and so I'm going to shred up these carrots and make a raw carrot salad to put on top of my grain bowl. I just made my basic raw carrot salad. It's just sriracha, rice vinegar, and soy sauce with some sesame seeds. Also some MSG because I love MSG. I'm a big fan, honestly. So I've got all of my ingredients warmed up and ready to go, and all that's left to do is assemble them. I've got a bed of brown rice with some of my roasted sweet potatoes and some rotisserie chicken. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some of this romaine lettuce and some pickled red onions. That's what the finished bowl looks like. Honestly, they are so delicious. So here is the end product of my ramen broth. Oh, she is beautiful. I'm just gonna take a little sip and see what I can do to season it as far as salt goes. But other than that, it's all done. So to go with the ramen I'm making, I'm grilling up a steak that my husband's grandparents gave us. They raise their own beef, and every year our Christmas present from them is a cooler full of beef. And so yeah, I'm cooking up, this is a ribeye steak, I think it's ribeye. But I have her seasoned very simply with just some garlic powder and salt. I find that pepper burns on the grill, so I don't want to add any pepper. But I didn't want her to take away from the flavor of the ramen itself. That's just gonna get sliced and put on top of the ramen. I didn't take it out of the freezer as soon as I should have, so I have this on a very low flame, and I'm just kind of hoping, yeah, that it cooks all the way through. And this feels kind of blasphemous, but I'm just gonna be using like Marjan ramen noodles. I'm not gonna use the flavoring packet, obviously, but I can't find fresh ramen anywhere, even at our local or semi-local Asian grocery store. They have Chinese noodles, but they don't have like real alkaline noodles, and I find that these are still pretty tasty, especially if you mix them with a decent ramen broth. Okay, so it is Monday night and I'm getting ready to make supper, and I have 2 of these quart containers of ramen broth from last night, which is basically just chicken bone broth, but it has, you know, the ginger and the garlic, which is what I normally add to congee. And so I'm just gonna use that to make my congee, and that'll have the bonus points of me not having to grate up a bunch of ginger and garlic. First thing I'm doing is melting down a bit of butter in the bottom of this Instant Pot. I'm just having it on the saute function. So I've got 1 cup of medium grain rice cooking in here, just in that butter to get nice and toasty, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my broth. I'm just gonna go ahead and season this up with the usual, just some salt and MSG, and I'm also adding in a couple dashes of soy sauce. This is just 3 chicken thighs that I bought when they were like really deeply on sale, and I portioned them out into meal-sized bags. And this is the great thing about the Instant Pot. I literally just pulled these out of the freezer and we'll have a meal ready in like 30 minutes. Alright, I'm gonna set this to high pressure for 24 minutes, and then I'm gonna go love on Denali. Alright, so this is done cooking, but I wanted it to be a little thicker, so I just have it on the saute, and I'm stirring it to let it thicken up a little bit. I'm also breaking up these chunks of chicken so it's like nice little shreds in there. Normally I serve this with chili crisp, but we are completely out. It's kind of hard to find it in this area, So I'm gonna have to make a stop in State College sometime soon to pick up some more, but this should be good even without it, honestly. Obviously every week is gonna be a little bit different as far as dinners go, but this is pretty typical of what a week of dinners would look like for us. I do try to batch cook as much as possible so that I don't have to cook every single night, because it's just a lot with 2 very young children. And also I try to cook large enough batches so that I can have them for lunches the next day, because lunch is a very, very difficult meal with 2 little babies. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and it would mean the world if you would subscribe.